every COD champs that we've had, we always have this kind of one thing that tends to happen every single time. No, it's not awarding team money. No, it's not a team winning the event. It is, in fact, a Cinderella story, right? At every Call of Duty championship that we have ever had, we can always rely on one team to make a crazy losers bracket run. And while some are more impressive than others, right? While some runs may be impressive than others, it has been something that we can almost guarantee is going to happen, right? Because we're 7 for 7, right? The odds that we don't go 8 for 8 would be interesting, and given the current landscape of the way that the CDL works, I understand it, right? I understand that this year is different from others, right? We don't have pool play. We have a bracket system with buys that are kind of based on the results from the regular season standings. However, I still do believe that we could see another impressive losers bracket run, much like we have every year since 2013, right? In 2013, it was Optic Gaming. Started in losers round 2, made it to losers finals. In 2014, it was Team Envious. Started in losers round 1, made it all the way to the grand finals. In 2015, it was FaZe Red. Started in losers round 2, made it all the way to losers finals. In 2016, it was Splice. Started in losers round 2, made it all the way to the grand finals. In 2017, it was Luminosity. Started in losers round 1, made it all the way to losers finals. In 2018, it was FaZe. Started in losers round 1, made it to losers finals. In 2019, it was 100 Thieves. Started in losers round 1, made it all the way to the grand finals. As you can see, in every year that we have had COD champs, a team has started from at least losers round 2 and made it to at least losers finals. Again, right? I do realize that this year is different, right? It is shaped up differently. We have 12 teams instead of the typical 32. We don't have pool play. We're also online instead of LAN. I get it, right? I'm not immune to the idea that this very well could end that streak, but I still do believe that there is a chance, right? There very well could be a chance that we do see a team make a deep run given all of these new circumstances. And as much as we want to try to play the card of online versus LAN, I can also toss out the MW card as well, which is that this title traditionally, when we talk about different maps, is closer than others. Certain series typically are closer than we've seen in years prior. I can make an argument for online. That's a different conversation. You get the point, right? I want to present the team that I believe has the best chance of starting in the losers bracket that I think actually could make a deep run. Now again, I know that's not going to be easy, right? Because these teams are starting in the losers bracket. Their very first game is in losers round 1, but I still do believe that there is a team that actually does stand a very good chance of making one of these historical runs like we've seen in every single COD champs. And the team that I believe has the best chance of doing that is Optic Gaming. Now, why Optic, right? Well, why Optic exactly? Listen, this is a new roster with a mixture between young and veteran talent, right? You have a motivated team. Kenny, has been in back-to-back COD champs grand finals. Slasher has been part of 3 out of the last 4 COD champs grand finals himself. And together, Kenny and Slasher and Black Ops 4 made one of the greatest losers bracket runs of all time, starting from losers round 1, making it all the way to the grand finals versus United. So again, they have a great mixture of veteran talent. They have a great mixture of young and hungry talent. And the interviews that I've done with Kenny, he's talked to me constantly on how Draza and Hollow are not just this young talent that's coming in and they're teaching them everything. No, it's actually a little bit in reverse. A lot of the young guys, in terms of this team in particular, in terms of Draza and Hollow, they've actually been teaching the veterans a few things about this game. That has been Kenny's words, and that is why they feel a lot more confident with this team than they have with the one previous. And I know it's hard, right? Because they lose a player like Dashy. There's been a lot of drama about the idea of releasing someone like Chino back to the bench because of the AR meta. I get it, right? But still, I feel like this team has the best road, which we'll talk about now, right? First round for OGLA, facing off against the Gorillas, right? The 12th ranked team, a roster that has not won since they finished top 4 back in Minnesota, which is over 2 months ago. The team is dry, right? LIG could be crafty. We know that they can be a very solid team. When we talk about a mode like Search and Destroy, they're arguably top 5 in that mode from time to time. But again, it's fair to say you expect OGLA to win their first round, given their recent history, given the way that they've looked, their results, and considering the fact that the Gorillas are essentially considered the worst team in the CDL. I think I've made my case there. Second round, right, would be the loser of the Subliners and the Minnesota Rocker. Now, odds say it'll be the Rocker. That's what my predictions say as well, right? Minnesota, a new team. I think that it will be the Subliners who make it to the next round. Now, like I said, this is a new team for the Rocker. If we're talking on this instance specifically, they'll have just lost to the Subliners. They're coming into a match versus OGLA. This is a new team. Just recently benched GodRx now for a young and hungry Exceed, who is going to be a fast SMG player for this team. I think from a role standpoint, it makes sense. They can be a wild card, but I do not think that it will be enough for Optic. It could be a close series, don't get me wrong, but I like OGLA's chances in the second round as well. We now look toward the third round. This would be the loser of either London and Ultra. That winner would, or rather the winner of that would then face off against the Mutineers. So it'll essentially be the loser of either London and Ultra versus the Mutineers. So if we're going off of seeding, we'll just say the Mutineers win that, right? And again, it's kind of hard, but based off of what you'd expect to most likely happen, it should be the Mutineers. They'll walk away with the victory. So OGLA in this instance would have either the Ravens or the Ultra to worry about. And one thing that's interesting is that OGLA just went to a Game 5, Round 10 with a hot Ultra team, who would later, by the way, go on to win the event. I think OGLA would be an interesting matchup for the Ravens, as both teams are pretty good at just about every single mode except for the Ravens' domination. So I think if you are, in this instance, if you're OGLA and you're looking at your third round in the losers bracket, and you're looking at a team that you actually played very close last time around, who would later go on to win the event, the question around that team is that can they keep that same fire? And then versus a Ravens team, which at times can be good, but also has a few weaknesses from time to time. So as a recap, right, first 3 rounds of the tournament, you have the Gorillas, a new Rocker team, or possibly an up and down Ravens, and a recent close encounter with the Ultra. If you are Optic, you will take that, right? Now, whether or not you think all of these series can go their way, you have to realize it's doable, right? I'm not trying to throw something at you in the first 3 rounds to make you think, well, I think that it very well could go the other way. I think you like OGLA's chances in a lot of these series. Now, from there, if OGLA can stay alive and make it to what would be losers round 4, odds/predictions would say it would be the loser of the Huntsmen and the Subliners. Now, the gut reaction, right, is to say, oh, Chicago's going to win that, right? The gut reaction would be Chicago Huntsmen move forward, Subliners fall to the losers bracket. Now, I'll go and let you in on a secret. My personal predictions actually do have the Subliners winning this. And I actually went over the reason why New York is kind of my dark horse in a prior video. You can feel free to check that out. But that upset, if it were to be true, wouldn't actually be bad for OGLA. You think, what, Chicago in the losers bracket? I don't know about that. Because the reason why it actually wouldn't be bad if that upset did take place, and that wasn't with the mindset of OGLA's future losers bracket run, had no correlation, but it does make sense based off my predictions. The reason why this move actually could be good for Optic is because they just took down the Chicago Huntsmen 3-1 at the most recent event, the Toronto home series. So if we're looking at it from the other side, right? If you go off predictions, if you go off seeding, Chicago Huntsmen, they win it. Now you have the Subliners to worry about if you're Optic. Hey, the argument can be made at the same time for the Subliners. Hey, they just fell flat at the London home series, a team that won New York, came into London, finished, I believe it was top 6. They get 3-0'd in both of their series, one of which came from the Paris Legion. So again, this is forward thinking. We don't know how Chicago or New York are going to come out of this series, but if you are OGLA, right, the recent series win against the Huntsmen, along with the recent shaky placement from the Subliners, does help you. We're moving on, right? We're moving on to possibly the next round. We're talking about losers round 5. If Optic makes it on from there, you have what could be a number of different teams. But if you were going off of expected results, it would be the Mutineers. Now, if you are OGLA, you aren't angry with this, right? If you're looking at a number of different top teams, this is probably one that you are conscious of, but it's probably not your final boss, if you want to kind of call it that for esports sake. The reason why is because you have more experience playing against the Mutineers than any other team with this new lineup and Drazen Hollow, right? You've played them twice. You lost 3-1, and you also lost Game 5, Round 11. People are forgetting that OGLA has had some pretty impressive results from time to time. They've had some close maps against solid teams. I get their record, I get the placements, but nonetheless, you have to consider their road. Florida, a team that I don't think is nearly as bad as some people are making them out to be given their recent placements. Again, we've talked about that in a recent video. They have seen a noticeable decline, and you can't say anything otherwise, but the question is, how much of a decline really is it? Like I've been saying, I realize that this is not an easy sell, right? As much as I want to try to hype up this Optic Gaming team and act as if they are going to make a massive losers bracket run, I get it, right? I understand it. But you also have to realize that none of these loser bracket runs from previous COD history, from 2013 to 2019, none of them made sense either, right? Not a whole lot of them really kind of looked as if they were all that capable of happening, right? The start of COD Champs isn't an easy sell when we talk about the losers bracket, especially for this event. But Optic, you have to realize, are a hungry team. They've got some great young talent. Drazen has only gotten better from event to event. He's starting to look better and could very well be the defining piece for this team. I've liked what I've seen from TJ at different moments in the last 2 home series. He's an impact player, right? He makes plays around the map and the team instantly receives benefits from it. Let's not forget, by the way, Optic does have these 2 guys named Slasher and Kenny, right? 2 guys who have experience, guys who have experience in the grand finals together, guys who have experience making loser bracket runs together. And Slasher, by the way, has done it twice already, right? He did it with 100 Thieves back in 2019, and he also did it with FaZe Red back in 2015. Again, I like the story here for Optic. I think you have to choose them when you talk about a team starting in losers. They have the best trajectory. And when you really look at the details, right? If you look at the hardcore details behind the matchups that they are going to have from round to round to round, I think you're kind of okay with this. I think you're okay with the possible run that they are going to have. The teams that they're going to face off against, they've already shown promise against previously. And the teams that they're going to be starting off against to kind of gain a lot of that early momentum, I think they're doable. I really do. Again, realize it is not an easy sell, but I believe that Optic does have the right mixture, and I believe that given their situation and given their road to Champs weekend, I believe that they stand the best chance and do have the ability to carry on the Cinderella story that has started since COD Champs 2013.